Men are told to forgive, to understand, to always be the bigger person. But that's exactly how they lose everything: their power, their pride, and their peace. Forgiveness sounds noble, but in relationships, it's often the weapon that women use against weak men. Because once she knows you'll forgive anything, she stops respecting you. And when respect dies, love follows. There are things a man should never overlook, never excuse, and never forgive. Not because of anger, but because self-respect demands boundaries. Forgiveness is divine, yes, but blind forgiveness is submission. Number 1, when she isolates you from family and friends. The most dangerous form of control doesn't start with anger. It starts with affection. She doesn't forbid you from seeing your friends. She just says, "I don't feel comfortable around them." She doesn't tell you to stop visiting your family. She just says, "They don't really like me, do they?" And because you want peace, you start choosing her over everyone else. Little by little, one compromise at a time. Until one day, you realize you've built your world entirely around her, and she's the only voice left inside it. Isolation is not always forced. Sometimes it's seduced. She plays the innocent victim, the misunderstood girlfriend, the outsider who just wants to feel safe. And because you're loyal, you defend her. You distance yourself from people who question her, thinking you're protecting love. But what you're really doing is cutting off the very network that protects you. Your reality check, your identity, your sense of balance. She doesn't have to trap you. She just needs to make you walk into the cage yourself. Once you're isolated, control becomes effortless. Every opinion you hear is hers. Every decision you make runs through her filter. She becomes the sun, and everything else revolves around her mood. When you try to reconnect with others, she accuses you of neglect, betrayal, or emotional distance. It's not love she wants anymore. It's dominance disguised as dependency. Never forgive a woman for isolating you, because isolation isn't love, it's a strategy. It's how manipulators secure obedience. By removing every other voice that could remind you who you are. They don't break you. They disconnect you from your support, your strength, and your sense of truth. And by the time you realize it, you're too emotionally invested to leave, because she's made herself the center of your survival. A woman who truly loves you will encourage connection, not fear it. She will want you surrounded by friends, family, and purpose, because she knows her place in your life, not your world. But the one who isolates you doesn't love you. She needs you alone so she can never be questioned. So when you notice her turning you against the people who love you, walk away. Because any relationship that demands you to lose your tribe isn't partnership. It's captivity wrapped in romance. Number 2, when she betrays you, emotionally, before physically. Physical cheating is just the final scene. The real betrayal starts long before that, in silence, in text messages, in the way she begins to open up to another man about things she no longer shares with you. Most men don't see it coming because they confuse loyalty with presence. They think as long as she sleeps next to them, she's still theirs. But the truth is, when a woman gives her emotions to someone else, her body is just waiting to follow. Emotional betrayal is colder, deeper, and far more dangerous than sex. Because it happens while she still calls you baby, still kisses you goodnight, but her heart is already elsewhere. She starts hiding her phone, changing how she talks, becoming defensive when you ask simple questions. You can feel her energy slipping away. Not all at once, but piece by piece, like She's unplugging from your soul. And here's the brutal part. She will justify it. She'll say, "He's just a friend," or "I can't talk to you the way I used to." That's not honesty. That's preparation. She's softening your suspicion, creating emotional distance so when she finally crosses the line, it feels inevitable, almost justified. She will convince herself that you pushed her away, when in truth, she simply wanted a new emotional supplier. Never forgive a woman for emotional betrayal, because by the time she's attached to another man's mind, you've already been replaced in her heart. The act itself, the kiss, the night, the confession, is just the symptom of a decision she made weeks ago. You can't compete with that. You can't reason her back. Once she finds emotional safety elsewhere, your presence becomes a reminder of everything she no longer feels. A woman's emotional betrayal is the quiet death of the relationship. No fights, no tears, just indifference. And indifference is worse than hate. It means she's already moved on while pretending she hasn't. So when you sense that shift, the cold tone, the distracted eyes, the sudden distance, don't negotiate. Leave. Because you can fix anger, but you can't resurrect desire that has already found a new home. Number 3, when she controls or exploits you financially. Money isn't just paper. It's freedom. It's choice. It's time. The one resource you'll never get back. So when a woman starts to control your money, spend it recklessly, or sabotage your career, she's not just taking your cash. She's taking your future. A man's finances are the foundation of his independence. A woman who truly loves you will respect that, but a woman who wants control will use your finances as a leash. She'll tell you it's just practical to share everything. But somehow the sharing always benefits her more. She'll guilt you for saving, shame you for working too much, or make you feel selfish for wanting security. That's not partnership. That's financial manipulation, wearing the mask of love. She might forget to tell you about her debts. She might make big purchases behind your back, or borrow without returning. Worse, she might subtly discourage your ambition, because a man who keeps growing becomes harder to control. She'll frame it as, "I just want more time with you." But what she really wants is to keep you small enough to need her. And here's the dark truth. Once a woman learns she can influence how you earn or spend, she starts managing your destiny. Because whoever controls the money controls the direction of life. The man who lets a woman drain his wallet will eventually watch her drain his confidence. You can't lead if you have to ask permission to chase your dreams. Never forgive financial betrayal. Because money in relationships isn't about greed. It's about freedom. The moment she hides money, manipulates your spending, or blocks your progress, she's not your partner anymore. She's your handler. And if you stay, you'll wake up one day realizing you didn't build a relationship. You funded your own cage. Protect your finances like your soul. A loving woman contributes. A manipulative one consumes. One builds with you. The other builds a life on top of you. Remember this. A man's money represents his time, his sweat, his struggle. So if she spends it carelessly or weaponizes it, she's not hurting your wallet. She's disrespecting your life. Number 4, chronic lying. From little lies to a life of deception. A relationship doesn't collapse from one big lie. It rots slowly. From the small ones, the harmless ones. The "I just didn't want to upset you." That's how chronic lying begins. Not with malice, but with comfort. A woman lies once, feels your forgiveness, and realizes that deception costs her nothing. So she does it again and again. Until one day, the truth becomes optional, and honesty becomes inconvenient. Chronic lying is not about the story she tells you. It's about the message behind it. Your reality doesn't matter as much as my comfort. Every lie, no matter how small, is a statement of hierarchy. She puts her emotional safety above your right to truth. And the moment she normalizes lying, she's no longer afraid of losing your trust. Because in her mind, trust is not something sacred. It's something you'll rebuild for her, again and again. It always starts small, a hidden text, a white lie about where she was, an excuse that doesn't add up but sounds sweet enough to calm you. Then it grows, new lies to protect the old ones, new stories to cover the cracks. Until one day, you realize you're living with a stranger who smiles with the same face but speaks a different truth. Never forgive systematic dishonesty, because chronic lying is not a mistake. It's a lifestyle. It means she's more comfortable maintaining illusion than facing consequence. And a woman who lies with ease isn't afraid of losing you. She's afraid of losing her ability to control you. Every false word is a quiet declaration that your trust is expendable. Forgive the truth when it hurts, but never forgive the lie that protects comfort. Because once someone feels safe deceiving you, the relationship is already over. You're just the last one to know. You can rebuild love after failure. But you can never rebuild love with someone who prefers fiction over reality. Number 5, when she uses your kindness to control you. Not every woman wants love. Some want control. And kindness is the easiest weapon to turn against you. She learns your heart before she learns your mind. She studies what melts you, what makes you feel guilty, what makes you say yes when you should say no. And then she uses it, not out of hate, but out of power. Because for some women, control feels safer than affection. She'll play the victim when she wants obedience. She'll remind you of your promises, your guilt, your duty as a man. And you'll think you're being noble when you sacrifice yourself, when in truth, you're being trained. Every time you give in, she learns that tears work better than logic. She doesn't need to shout, she just needs to look hurt. And you, the man who wants peace, hand her your power in exchange for silence. That's not love. That's emotional manipulation disguised as care. When a woman starts using her weakness to get what she wants, she's not connecting. She's controlling. And the more you comply, the more she tests. You'll notice the pattern. Small demands turn into big ones. Please turns into you should. And suddenly your relationship feels like a contract written in guilt. You stop living for yourself and start existing to manage her emotions. A real man gives freely, but he never gives under pressure. Kindness should be a gift, not a leash. Once a woman learns that she can use your empathy to bend your will, you're no longer her partner. You're her puppet. And she won't even see you as kind anymore. She'll see you as weak, predictable, controllable. Because to a manipulative woman, your compassion isn't virtue. It's leverage. Never forgive a woman for using your good heart as a tool to dominate you. Because every time you let it happen, you're teaching her that love means control and sacrifice means submission. And when a man loses the power to say no, he doesn't just lose the woman, he loses himself. Love her, protect her, care for her. But the moment your kindness becomes currency, walk away. Because true strength isn't about how much you can give. It's about knowing when to stop giving to those who only take. Number 6, when she disrespects your boundaries. A woman who truly loves you will test your limits, but she will stop when she feels them. A woman who doesn't respect you will keep pushing until you break. That's the difference between connection and control. Boundaries are not about walls, they are about self-respect. And the moment she starts crossing them, mocking your rules, invading your privacy, challenging your principles, she's not expressing love. She's testing ownership. She'll call it just joking or you're too sensitive. She'll minimize what she does and magnify your reaction. That's how manipulation works. The problem is never what she did. It's always how you overreacted. Soon you start questioning yourself. Maybe I am being too harsh. No, you're not. You're just realizing that your peace is being negotiated. When a woman disrespects your boundaries and you let it slide, you teach her that your no means convince me. And from that moment on, you're no longer leading. You're being managed. Because once she knows she can guilt, seduce, or pressure you into compliance, every boundary becomes optional. She'll push further each time. Not because she hates you, but because she's subconsciously testing how far she can go before you finally act like a man again. Men lose themselves, not because women demand too much, but because they stop defending what defines them. Your boundaries are not rules for her. They're standards for you. They say, this is what I tolerate. This is who I am. When you erase them to avoid conflict, you're not being kind. You're being replaced. Never forgive a woman for making you feel guilty about having boundaries, because the moment you apologize for protecting your peace, she owns you emotionally. Respect dies the second you explain why you deserve it. Remember this: love without boundaries becomes chaos. Affection without limits turns into manipulation. And a relationship without respect is nothing but slow erosion disguised as devotion. So when she crosses your line, don't shout. Walk away. Because men who stand firm don't lose women. They lose those who were never worth keeping. Forgiveness is noble, but not when it costs you your soul. The moment you tolerate what destroys your peace, you stop being a man. You become a hostage. Real strength isn't in how much you can endure, but in how fast you can walk away from what disrespects you. Never fear losing a woman who no longer values your worth. Fear losing the version of yourself that once did. If this message hits something deep inside you, share it. Comment your thoughts, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. Because one truth at a time, we're rebuilding what modern love has tried to destroy. The power of masculine clarity.